Professor Vikas Agarwal will now talk about why publish a scientific paper.
Uh, Very good evening, good afternoon, and maybe even good morning to all of you. And without wasting any time further, I'll straight away go to the topic, why write a scientific research paper? So we all know that what is science? In one word, we can define science as truth. But truth is not always obvious. One has to find ways and means to explore what is actually the truth. So we can define science as an ongoing process of discovery and identification of explanations of both existing as well as newer phenomena by doing some kind of experimentations or by doing some kind of observations. And when we share these findings of our experiment or observations, this is what we can call it as academic publication. So this is nothing but sharing of findings with scientific community. It enables our peers to benefit from our learning, to give them or stimulate them for newer ideas so that they can conduct their own new research. Sometimes they give a very critical feedback on the paper, which actually helps the original researcher to have more questions and some more experiments to find out the actual truth and to improve the current knowledge base. But why is it really important to write a scientific paper? As far as this is concerned, I think one is to share one's work with the scientific community and to put the hard work done by a researcher in public domain, whereby this knowledge can be used by others for their own benefit or to conduct more research and to find out better questions and better answers. So once you create or share the knowledge and disseminate it amongst the peers, you provide stimulus for future research. And at places like where I am, this is a tertiary care teaching training research institute where scientific writing or research papers writing is important as part of teaching of our students and postdocs. So we have to take them on board when we are writing a paper, stimulate them to write a paper so that they could be better future researchers. Sometimes researches are done to address certain population specific problems whereby a community is benefited by that kind of knowledge. Also, there are practical benefits of writing a scientific paper. It enhances the prestige, it establishes the credentials of the person who is conducting the research, and it helps in getting the grants in future. And sometimes when you get a grant from the government agency, it is inherently incorporated part of the grant that you have to publish at least one or two or even more papers before you finally submit the final report of the grant. It also helps in the progression of the career of the researcher. And last but not the least, it is the passion or the curiosity to find out the truth, which actually leads to a researcher to write a scientific paper on his research. So, what are the benefits when you present your own work to the scientific community? It adds to the knowledge about the natural phenomena, and we being clinicians means more of a disease. It addresses gaps in the existing literature. There are so many gaps in the existing literature which needs to be filled up. And every day when we have more queries, we try to address them by conducting more and more research. And when we conduct research, obviously we get some questions and some answers. So that keeps on motivating for future research. Sometimes not only it is important for future research, but it also helps in generating the policies. Like in these times of COVID, any epidemiological study will help the bureaucrats in or the technocrats who are at the top level, that they can generate policies for the communities. Also, when you share your work, you are providing information so that the other person need not repeat the same experiment. There is no need to reinvent the wheel. And when you find a new way to treat a disease, you are helping the whole of the humanity. And last but not the least, obviously, it helps in providing a great satisfaction to the researcher when he or she has addressed a complicated query and has find out something which is applicable across the communities and the countries. So when you create and share the knowledge with the others, it not only helps in identifying the lacunae in the existing knowledge so that more queries can be generated and further researches can be done on so many questions which are arising out of it, but it provides help to the uh, community so that it enhances the understanding of the disease, and it may lead to implementation or finding of newer and the effective treatment of certain diseases. And when you share knowledge, also people who are far away from your place, they know about you, and they may come across on board and collaborate. So it helps in fostering collaborations when somebody is publishing a research paper. Writing research papers as part of teaching is important for medical colleges and the teaching institutes, where we as a teacher not only has obligation to treat the patient, but also train the residents and also train them to conduct research, whereby they students learn to conduct a research and to express the findings of their research work in a research paper. And when they do this under the guidance of their teacher, they learn a lot. So it creates a generation of future researchers, and also they learn the art, science, and ethics of publication or publishing a research paper. In modern times, publishing a research paper not only entails the art and science, but more important than that, the ethical practices, which are generally not taught to us in the medical colleges. But when you mentor a student, then you can teach him or her what are the ethical standards of research publications, which we will be touching upon in some part in the coming part of the webinar, but as a part of continuation of our webinar series. Certain researches are conducted in a way to find out solutions for specific problems. Like we know that in different part of the country, there are different populations who have got different problems. Malaria is predominant a problem in the eastern coastal India, but not in regions like Uttar Pradesh or Lucknow, where we are. Similarly, diabetes is a more of an Indian problem as compared to the Western world, and same is true for the coronary artery disease, where the incidence and the prevalence of coronary artery disease is much more in Asians and with the earlier onset as compared to the Western world. The practical benefits of publishing a research paper is to enhance your prestige among the peers and the scientific community. People know about you and they appreciate your hard work and the quality of your research. It establishes your scholarly credentials. It helps you in getting grants in future, and also whatever grant you have obtained to conduct a particular research, it is some of the times it is the inherent component to publish papers, so that criteria is also fulfilled. In India, we have a system whereby if you publish, it helps in progression of your career. So especially in the government institutes, publications are required for promotion as part of your assessment promotion as far as guidelines by MCI, that is Medical Council of India, or the University Grants Commission norms are concerned. And many times when you apply for a job in a medical institute or a college, then you are better placed as compared to the other candidates when you have a good number of research papers in your name. So that kind of experience counts in your job selection also. There are various types of publications which I have listed here in form of original, review articles, case reports, editorials, letters to editor. These are the common formats, but there could be many more types of publications which Latika is going to talk once I finish my presentation. So as far as this webinar is concerned, we will be discussing about the fundamentals of writing a scientific paper, including the structure of an original article. Every component of the original article will be discussed. Then we will be having an experience of actual reviewing a manuscript and identifying mistakes, which one can avoid when somebody is writing a scientific paper. And in the next part of the series, we will be discussing about the ethical aspects of scientific publishing, pitfalls to avoid in scientific publishing, and how to identify predatory open access publishing so that your hard work does not go down the drain. So with this, I'll hand over the charge to Latika back so that she can present her work on what all kind of articles one can think of writing and publishing in scientific literature. Thank you.